For CuyEast Chamber of Commerce, I'm Wayne Lawrence. Is owning a business a blessing or curse? We're going to find out today. I've got Marvin Montgomery with me today, and we're going to find out a little bit about whether or not he's enjoying his business. Marvin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So, man, you have a unique combination of things in your shop, in your store.
No, seriously.
You've got sneakers, you've got streetwear, you've got barber shop there, you've got everything going on. How'd you come up with all that?
I don't know. I think I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur growing up and seeing my parents as they're both entrepreneurs and kind of wanting to follow in their footsteps and be my own boss and make my own decisions and kind of have an opportunity to create and do my own thing, essentially. So Kicks and Cuts formulated in 2020, and there's a couple different things that kind of brought the idea together, but I always tell people it just kind of like popped up, I guess.
Right.
You know?
Even the name, I mean, Kicks and Cuts, I mean, that's just hitting it right there. So how did that come about?
So I think once we kind of had figured out we wanted to do all the different things, the various things that we were doing between the clothing, shoes, barbershop, it was like, what's a unique name to tie everything together? And Kicks and Cuts, one of my buddies, I was reaching out to a bunch of people like, hey, name suggestions. And my buddy was like, dude, you got to call it Kicks and Cuts. And I was like, that's the name, like for sure. Because it ties everything in, you know?
It does, man. It's well thought out. It's a great name.
Thank you.
And I see the logo on your shirt too, so it's a really nice logo as well.
Always repping it.
So how long have you been in business?
So we opened in December of 2020. So we'll be celebrating 3 years this December.
Okay.
Which is exciting. But yeah, I mean, it's been, we opened during COVID. So everything was mask on, appointments for all the barbershop. I had to have retail appointments. I couldn't just have anybody walk in. So it was a struggle kind of getting started, making appointments for people to come in, social distancing, all these different factors. So it's been nice as things are starting to open back up now.
And how many employees do you have?
I have 6 employees right now.
6 employees right now. Okay.
All high school students. 3 of them are interns through the entrepreneurship program at Woodridge High School.
Okay.
So
you've been in business for 3 years. You came through the pandemic time. We're going to talk about that a little bit because I know that created its own challenge.
Right.
And you have 6 employees. So is owning your own business a blessing or curse?
I'd have to say that it is a blessing for sure. It's it's like a roller coaster. You have your ups, you have your downs, you have your twists and twirls. But I think as an entrepreneur, you learn to adjust and be able to move around those hurdles and handle situations better and create processes to not have to go through the same things all the time,
So you have entrepreneurism in your blood, actually, literally in your blood. Your parents are entrepreneurs.
Literally.
And, they have their own businesses. So, tell me a little bit about that. Was watching them and what they were going through, was that scary at times? Most people may say, I'm not doing that at all.
Right.
and you said, no, I want to be my own business owner, entrepreneur.
I think seeing both of my parents work really hard to create the businesses they have today, especially my dad really building his name off of his name, because his slogan is Get Marvinized. So just seeing him and his drive and my mom and how she's built up her inventory in her store just really gave me even more motivation to open up my own store. And I've definitely seen the ups and downs with their businesses, and it's everything's up in the air these days. I don't know, but I've definitely always enjoyed the process and the slow days, the busy days, the stressful days, the fun days. So it's all part of it.
So I'm going to give Marvin Montgomery Sr. a little shout out right now because I like to make connections. And Marvin and I, as you know, your dad and I met through the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And have known each other now for years
Right.
and years. And then, of course, met you through the Chamber and through actions here. So it really just talks about the strength of that Chamber.
Right.
So, all of us have been Marvinized at one point.
At some
Your
point.
dad. So I want to go ahead and give him a little bit of a shout out.
Whether I'm out with him sitting down or at the house getting yelled at, we've all been Marvinized.
Within your business of the sneakers, streetwear, and barbershop, do the barbers work for you? Are they independent? And how do you work that part of it?
So it's actually been really difficult trying to find barbers because obviously they need to be licensed to be in the shop. I have 2 full-time barbers right now. At one point I had 4. And a big thing for me is that's part of the culture. Like a barber in the shop is almost like an employee. They have to have that energy and obviously be good at cutting hair. But the structure for that is booth rent. So they pay a monthly fee. And yeah, they cut as many clients as they want.
Which is
for
great.
the month,
You,
yeah.
you keep your labor costs just a little bit lower by doing that as well. Are you doing anything within the sneakers and the streetwear? Is any of that on consignment? You got,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of consignment on the sneakers because the margins are a little smaller. You're looking between like 15 to 40% normally of a return on sneakers, which is really lower compared to the clothing because clothing's always a double, triple, or quadruple markup. So consignment, I do allow it in the store. All the sneakers we have in the store are brand new, and the consignment fee is 15%. So I open it up to the community. I'll post about it every once in a while, and it's just a cool process. My money's not tied up. Still make a couple bucks off of it, and it's just a cool way to bring people in from the community to check out the store and people be able to display their shoe collections.
You know, and that's smart, actually. It really is. So you mentioned your employees, and you said they were, what, I think high school students at
Yes,
this
I love
point?
hiring high school students.
Yeah, and most companies, as you know, just struggle with getting good employees, and especially nowadays, and retail is certainly begging for good
Right.
employees. How do you find them? How do you train them? And how do you keep them?
I've actually been lucky enough to have people honestly come to me because they want to work at the store. They see us on social media. Maybe they know other people that have worked there. And I've honestly been, like I said, lucky that people want to come in and work. But I love hiring at the high school level for a number of reasons. But one of them is because, these high schoolers, this is like their first or second job. They're still learning. So to try to help them get through those developing stages, let them ask questions. They just started driving. It's just like that. I feel like I play an influential role kind of at that age level. So
Well, and you're so closely aligned
yeah,
with their age. of course.
exactly. So it's easy
You're a young entrepreneur.
right. So it's easy to really communicate with them and work with them. Or even when I go in and talk at like high schools or middle schools, it's really easy to connect with the kids because I'm like, guys, I'm literally like your age. Like I just turned 21 in February. So it's like I can really connect with them, I feel like.
And you jumped in early. I mean, what had you, I understand the whole parents' background and them being entrepreneurs, but some people can wait for 20, 30 years before they get in business or go work for a larger company. What made you dive in so early and just dive in, not step in, not get the toe wet, dive into it?
I think it's just my eagerness, and I think it's kind of really how I do everything. I'm either all in or I'm just not really interested. But I think with the pandemic, I was supposed to go to John Carroll. Everything was online. Everything was remote. So that kind of deterred me a lot. I was literally waking up, logging on to Zoom, switching classes via the click of a button. It just wasn't, I didn't find joy in it. And that's kind of when I decided to leave school, and I sat down with my parents, friends, colleagues, like just people I value their opinion, and just try to figure out what should I do. And I've always been into clothing and retail, so that was kind of the choice.
So Marvin, you had mentioned that you were looking at college and a pandemic was coming. There was online learning and all these different things, and you chose not to even pursue college or a
Right.
degree. What drove that decision? Because I know that there's kids coming out of school all the time
Right.
with thinking about going to the military, thinking about doing something else, working, probably getting pressure to get some sort of job or income
Right.
from their families.
Seriously.
So what drove your decision?
My dad always says the 3 E's: enroll, enlist, entrepreneurship. And I love that he says that. I think there's so many amazing opportunities, and there's so many different realms that people can flourish in. Whether you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, I feel like for those routes, you definitely need school. You can't be a doctor or a lawyer or anything of that nature and not have any schooling behind you. But if you want to be a business owner, or maybe really just be creative and take your own route, photography, videography, and really just create with the resources you have online and the different classes that you can take, YouTube videos, internship opportunities, I really feel like you could go around the route of school if you want to be in that creative realm. But I never tell people don't go to school or, hey, look at me, don't go to school, because I'm still figuring a lot of things out. And there are times where I wish I continued with school. There are times where I'm happy that I didn't go to school. So I think it's really taking time and asking questions from other people to see what their insight is, but also kind of in your heart, what should I do? Because at the end of the day, it's really cool to hear what everybody has to say, but at the end of the day, you have to live with the decisions that you make. And
education seems to come in many forms anyway,
Right.
because you might not have gone to an actual school or program or formal program, but you came through the school of the streets and knowledge. I mean, you were just learning,
Right.
And you had a good support network between with your family and friends, and that support group we talked about to kind of help you through it. But you're learning every day, even as you go through this.
And I think for me personally, I learn best in person, and one-on-one, and good mentors and genuine people. I learned a lot when I was here at New Image Media with photography and videography, and it was that hands-on experience. And for me, that's how I've always learned. Textbook, not Marvin. And like taking notes, studying, all that stuff. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I like to be in person, hands-on, doing the thing. So everybody's learning process is different and a route that they want to take. So again, I never really tell people don't go to school, but I do share with them that I didn't go to school, and some of my successes that I've had, some of the failures that I've had that have led to kind of the direction that I'm heading towards currently.
And from what I understand, your parents were very supportive of the
Yes,
decision.
yeah,
They just wanted you to
100%.
do what you want to do,
Right.
and have some, that eagerness and commitment to doing it, and you did. So,
Right.
I mean, I think that's all that any parent may want for their child, is to want to succeed and go out and do it.
Yeah, that was definitely a big help. My parents
Okay.
definitely pushed me and were excited about it and weren't like, oh, well, you should do this or you should do that. So that was very helpful.
So, are these high school students looking at you as the mentor now?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't come off like you have to look at me like this way, but we do like little write-ups every once in a while. Ask, what can I do better, and they always give me pretty positive feedback, and it's, I don't know, it's definitely a blessing for sure.
You had mentioned training your employees, and a lot of that we talked about is just being there and working with mentors and just learning the business. Because you didn't go to college, do you felt like you learned anything through any programs in high school that may have helped you prepare?
Definitely. I was in, they called it the 6th District Compact, which included Hudson High School, Woodridge High School, Talmadge High School, Kent High School, Cuyahoga Falls High School, and Hudson, if I didn't already say that. But 6 schools in the area. So with this 6th District Compact, it was all different programs. So I was in DECA, which was an entrepreneurship program. They had healthcare, they had cosmetology, field jobs to prepare you for those. So in DECA, it's a junior and senior year program, and it was an amazing opportunity. My junior year, I wrote a 20-page business plan on a clothing line that I had in high school, and I actually made it to nationals, which was amazing and super fun because we got to travel. The papers were fun to write, maybe not at the time, but after receiving some awards and getting to present in front of judges. And then senior year, I wrote another business plan on my clothing line again, and I only made it to states. But again, it was an amazing opportunity. I learned a ton in the program, and honestly, in that program, it was a lot of the hands-on things that we got to do that really, I feel like, shaped me. And we had different guest speakers come in weekly, so I got to network with a lot of the guys that came in or ladies that came in, which was also another amazing opportunity. But then after graduating, they started another program in the 6th District Compact. So when I say 6th District Compact, anybody from those 6 schools can go to the programs at the other schools. So I was at Woodridge, and I was traveling to Kent High School to go to the DECA program. So Entrepreneur started in 2020, which would have been another, between DECA and Entrepreneur, it would have been a hard decision to decide which program to go to because both in entrepreneurship. But I was able to work with the teacher of Entrepreneur because she was my middle school teacher. And I was able to take 2 interns last year and 3 interns this year. So that was really a cool opportunity again, to be able to encourage and bring those kids in, to work alongside me and be at the store and really just try to teach and learn with them because I'm learning too.
I believe you actually won an award. Was that through Entrepreneur?
Yes.
So that was a 2023
Yes,
Inspiring Entrepreneur Impact Award or something like that?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
How did that feel,
was,
being able to get recognized a few years later after that? Yeah.
It was kind of surreal, I would honestly say. The kids had a presentation on me and really seeing how they felt about me in front of a large group setting, which was really nice and kind of heartwarming to know that what I'm doing day in and day out is paying off in some way, shape, or form.
And you actually, you're being very modest because you actually really like to give back to your community and just younger generation. I understand that you're speaking at schools at times too, to just kind of talk about what you've gone through. And,
Definitely.
And talk about that 30, which is entrepreneurship. And I think that's fantastic, just to give everyone options, let them know all their options.
And we always are trying to do something, whether it's free haircuts during the back to school time, if there's some shoes or clothes that we had in the store for a while, try to give back in the community whenever we can. And I feel like that should be a part of everybody's business model, to that philanthropy, that give back, that drive, that want to give back. Because every business gives back, but that wanting to give back, always about it, and always trying to do different things in the community to stay out in the community, but also support the community that supports us.
Well, and the best thing about that is not just a blessing to you for doing it, it's a blessing to the person who's a recipient too. So
Exactly.
For all. So let's talk about what may have been a little bit of a curse, pandemic.
Yes.
So how did you adjust? How did you make it through it?
I feel like there really wasn't any adjusting that I had to do, because it's not like I was open in 2019 or 2018 and everything was going well and then the pandemic hit. It's like kind of pandemic had been going on throughout 2020, and then kind of already knew what I was walking into, essentially, with the mask and social distancing and appointments. Because if you really think about it, like a decade ago, a couple years ago, you'd go into a barbershop, hang out, talk. You didn't really have an appointment. You just walked in, wait for your barber to get free and get a haircut. But now, since the pandemic, everything's really appointment based. So I think it honestly helped us structure and build. So I look at COVID almost as like definitely a curse, a curse. But I think we made the most of it that we could.
Well, and I think the blessing of it is, when you looked at me, I thought maybe you were going to say that, and you realized, it's certainly not a blessing. But I think the blessing part of it is your how you learn throughout it. I mean, to come into that environment, you didn't have to adjust, as you said. I mean, I think that's, you had to make sure you did what you did or needed to do to build a business in a very trying time. And that's going to prove to be fruitful for you throughout the course of time as you come against adversity. So,
and I think too, like when you're starting a business, there's like so many different hoops that you have to jump through and to get compliant and all these things. I think it was honestly nice starting in COVID, and everything was slower, It's like I almost had that time to learn all these different things instead of jumping in and stores crazy busy. And I don't know. I'm happy with the way everything kind of went and worked out, honestly.
So let's talk about this cool retail shop.
Right.
People who are looking at even opening up a retail business, a franchise, anything that's associated with delivering to the consumer right there.
Right.
Excuse me, on the spot. How did you choose your location, and then how did you choose the size? What type of research did you do in order for you to make that decision?
So to kind of like dial back a little bit, my mom has a nail salon boutique. She's been in business since '93, but she opened a Cuyahoga Falls location in 2016, I believe, or maybe it was 2015. And when she built this store, well, not built, but the building was already there, but she did a ton of enhancements and improvements within the space. And one of the improvements that she did was creating a second floor essentially, but it was only half of the square footage of her store. So when you walk in, you have all of her retail space downstairs. You walk up the stairs, and then that's where Kicks and Cuts is. But before this, there was nothing up there besides 2 offices. And again, this was 2015, 2016. So my mom was very tired of taking me to Akron, Cleveland, all these different barbershops. So she decided that she wanted to put a barbershop in the upstairs. So she had 4 or 5 chairs up there. She had 2 barbers. Again, so it's the barbershop area kind of, and then 2 offices, nothing else. Went through my high school years, graduated in 2020. And then once I decided I was going to leave school, the barbershop was already upstairs. And my kind of thought process was retail, shoes, how can we tie everything in? That's when the kind of ideas meshed together, Kicks and Cuts came about. So I don't know the exact square footage of the upstairs, but it's really like a straight shot. You walk up, we have our counter. To the left of our counter, we have the We Made It grass wall. So anytime people come in, we get a picture of them in front of it. And then you walk straight into the barber shop, and then on the last end of the store is the sneaker wall and apparel. So it really flows well. I feel like I've kind of already outgrown my space. I definitely need some more room. But it's really nice being on the upstairs of my mom's nail salon and boutique, and it's really like a one-stop shop. A lot of families come in. Wife might be downstairs shopping, husband getting a haircut, kids
buying sneakers.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Like there's so many different walks of life walking into the store.
What's your website? Because I of course I've gone to it, and
Right.
it's pretty sharp. It's really
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you.
So let the listeners know what your website is.
It's kicksandcuts.com. So KICKS, the letter N, CUTS.com. And you can purchase sneakers on there. You can see what we have available in your size. You can also book an appointment for haircuts on there as well, and kind of get a feel for what we have in the store before you come and check us out in person.
So you had mentioned that some of the product itself is through consignment,
Right.
But you of course have inventory, and you have to
Right.
control that. So two things: one, how has the supply chain been for you? Because it's harder to get things these days, and
Yeah.
it certainly was during the pandemic. And secondly, what do you do to make sure you control that inventory so you're just not out a lot of cash sitting
Right.
around? Yeah.
So cash flow is huge. How many people are buying the inventory that I'm putting into the store? So like I said earlier, January and February is kind of slow for me. So during those months, I'm not really investing into inventory a ton. I'm more so trying to get things out of the store. And then March, April, May, going all the way into back to school and Christmas, I'm buying like every day. I'm buying sneakers, I'm buying clothing, and I'm really just following the trend of the market, what's popular on Instagram, what's popular on TikTok, what's popular on all these social media platforms, so that I can get these brands in the store to the consumer, and they know where to get it at, which is Kicks and Cuts. So
Yeah, I actually I wanted to just ask you a little bit of how you're marketing and reaching potential customers. So is it through that media that you're doing that?
Yes,
Yeah.
social media is huge for me. When I first opened up in 2020, I posted a video saying, leaving school, I'm opening up this store, Kicks and Cuts, and it got, I think, 500,000 views, like 500K or something crazy like that. And all these people were starting to follow and share it, and when's this coming to Ohio, da-da-da-da. So that was like a huge push at the beginning. And then we were doing YouTube videos of kind of like behind the scenes, getting started. And Instagram is huge, Facebook is huge, posting haircuts so people can see what we have to offer, and definitely posting the different inventory that we get in on a daily basis.
So making it fresh every single time.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're posting every day, something.
Yeah, that's. Was that self-taught, or do you have someone doing that for you? Or
No,
it's just,
I do it myself. I'm actually training somebody to take it over. It's one of those things, like I have like a certain eye for it, so I've been holding on to it. But I think I kind of grew up in the social media area that we're always on our phone, us Gen Z, so it kind of came natural.
So you mentioned your family as part of your support network.
Oh, definitely.
Other people you've met that kind of gave you advice. Can you point to any other people or associations that really are part of that network that just helps you when times are hard? Because only in business times do get hard.
Right.
Is how you kind of come through the time, which matters. But who else can you point to?
I think your network is like really important. And I feel like one thing that did give me a lot of motivation and boost getting started with Kicks and Cuts is all the different opportunities and jobs I had. I actually interned here at New Image Media for a couple months, and that was amazing. The staff here and everybody here all met amazing people, filming people. I worked at a tree farm. I worked at a car wash. I worked at a winery. I worked for my parents. So I did so many different jobs, landscaping, mulch crew. Like I did so many different things that I felt built some of my network and people I can turn to, talk to, and just have in my circle that I know have my best interest and will let me know what it is, Everybody loves a yes man, but it's nice to have somebody that'll set you straight, let you know what's really going on.
So what's the most challenging part of it? What's the curse in a sense? I mean,
I would say foot traffic, honestly. Like getting people to your location. I'm not in a mall. I'm not in a plaza. So our foot traffic is like really genuine. The people that are coming into our store, they're coming in either to get a haircut or purchase something. It's not really, people aren't really just coming in to browse and look around, which you might find at being in a plaza or a mall. So just foot traffic, honestly, building that name and recognition. I mean, these aren't $50, $100 shoes. These are a couple $100, couple $1,000 shoes.
I saw that.
So people that are coming in, you know, we want to be knowledgeable, respectful, and bring that welcoming energy when they come into the space.
And you mentioned earlier on that you're at the point where you might even be outgrowing your space. So do you look at expansion as adding another location, a bigger space? Do you get into a mall type thing? I mean, what are you thinking now? Are you planning out the next 1 to 3 years?
Yes, I am currently actually with my mom. We're looking to build a location because I would definitely rather own something than to lease something and be in a mall. And I'm always looking in the future. I don't really see malls being around in a decade or two. Everything has just really gone so e-commerce over the last couple of years. But looking to build something with my mom, I want to stay in the same space as her, and I only want to have one like flagship location. And hopefully in the fourth quarter of this year, work on like a franchise plan for the business. So then people all around the world, honestly, could open up Kicks and Cuts, and I can collect royalties hopefully on them and just have my one flagship location.
And your network's helping you with that. You just kind of go through all the, potential, because I know with franchising, for those who are listening and watching who have franchises, I mean, the franchise system itself is totally dependent on the initial franchisor. Right. And you have a great, unique idea. So are you starting to put everything in writing now? So
yes,
later,
I'm working on that, like what I would like to be the same, some of our current processes. So I'm starting to somewhat formulate that. But the funny part about networking is when people come into the store, especially guys in the barbershop, I'll just talk to them. And I've met 2 or 3 lawyers and like really cool people in the community just from talking to them in the barbershop. You never know what people do. So I'm working with this guy that I met, I think like 2 weeks ago. He was getting a haircut. I was talking to the barbers. I was like, yeah, man, like I really want to franchise this. And the guy's like, oh, I write franchise plans and I know that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like one thing led to the next and the next and the next. So I've met some really cool people just being up at the store talking and meeting people.
And you wear a lot of hats when you think about it. So it's not just someone who can communicate, because we always, I've spoken to other business owners and we talk about the ability to just market, communicate, sell themselves, sell their product, or at least educate people on it.
Right.
But in your instance, you have inventory control. You have a lot of different things. How do you wear all those hats, or do you delegate some of that to your team?
I've been really working hard to try to delegate because when I opened, I really didn't have staff, really couldn't afford staff, honestly, but was just doing the social media, opening the store, closing the store, cleaning the store, the sales associate, I mean, doing everything. And it's been nice to get staff and slowly start to delegate and not be so hands-on with everything and let people be creative and do their own thing, and not everything has to be a certain way. So I've been really working on trying to delegate and let the people that work at the store kind of have their own creative freedom,
I'm going to ask that those who are listening and who might even be interested in franchise opportunities with you or through you, write in the comment section, and you guys may be able to hook up, because it's really nice if you have your first franchisee who's willing to kind of grow with you, grow the process and system, et cetera. So maybe you'll have someone reach out to you from that standpoint.
Well, it's just so unique, I mean, there's barbershops everywhere, there's shoe stores everywhere, there's clothing stores everywhere, but where is it all meshed together, Come in, get a haircut, get a nice new pair of shoes, some clothes, go out for the weekend. The guys love coming in and getting together.
So what's the best advice that you can give anyone who's looking at starting their own business as you look backwards on what you went through?
Probably just consistency. Like that was actually one of my words for 2023 is just consistency. Show up and just put the work in, and whether it's rain or shine, just be ready for what's to come. So I would say the word consistency. Definitely just stay consistent and watch how things can grow and change over the years, months, days, and stay positive.
anyone watching is going to come to the conclusion that you're, you have a very positive energy to you. I'm getting more excited about my business, just even talking to you, and that it would be a blessing because you take that positive energy and turn it into anything. Even if something goes wrong, you're going to figure out a way, figure out a way to learn from it. So, hey, I really appreciate you talking to us today.
Yes.
I think people are going to get a lot of value out of this, and I wish you best of luck and encourage everyone to go to your website, visit your store, buy a franchise, whatever you need to do. All right. Thanks, Marvin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This podcast was made possible with the support of our sponsors. Find more ways to grow at CuyEast.org.